So this happened. I can't believe it. Okay, so today's video, I'm going to tell you about my driving test experience. Look, see, I'm so overwhelmed, I just can't speak. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you all about my driving test experience. So what happened before the test started, and during, and everything. So, okay, so me and my instructor got there around 10 minutes before my test started. So I did have a driving lesson at 11:45 till 12:45, so just an hour. And in that hour we just drove around a bit. We did a turn in the road, and we went over the show me and tell me questions, which I was getting right, but I just needed to know where the stuff was in the car, and that was the first time that I did that. So yeah, I was a bit worried that I wasn't gonna know, but once we went over them, I knew them. So after that, we made our way to the test centre, and my instructor got the parking space that he wanted. And I'll explain this when I start talking about my actual test. So I took my provisional and the key, and we went into the test centre. So when we walked inside, it's just this little blue door, and there was just seats in this room, and we sat down on one of them, and then this other girl there who looked about my age, I'm 17, came in with her instructor, and then this boy that looked around my age came in, and then this woman, and she looked a bit older. So there was 4 of us taking our tests, because you all go out at the same time. So it was really weird, because obviously I've never took a test before, so I didn't know what to expect. So basically we were sitting down, and then my instructor said, okay, so any second now they should be coming out. And then right next to us, the door opened, and these men just like walked out so quickly, but they were saying names like, oh, Megan, duh, duh, duh. And then there was this other man, he had glasses and like a bald head, and he said, oh, so you must be Kelly. And I went, yeah. And then you just have to sign your signature, and they check your provisional, and then you go to your car. So, he asked me if I want my instructor in the car, and I said no, purely because I was so nervous and I didn't want more people watching me. I'm quite independent anyway, so I quite liked just him. Otherwise, I would have like looked back and just see my instructor sitting there like, but no, I just didn't want that. So I said no, thank you. And then we went outside to the car. So when we got in the car, we did get in the car actually, we walked around the back way, and he asked me to read a number plate, which I think I actually got wrong, because it was something N, and then there was like, I think there was an I next to it, but I didn't say I was so nervous, I was just like N041, and I thought to myself, oh my god, I literally think I got that wrong. But anyway, probably not. So he said, okay, now we're gonna do the show me tell me questions. He said, can you open the bonnet? So obviously I opened the bonnet, and the question was about the oil. Show me where the oil is, and I obviously said, well, it's a dipstick here. How do you check the oil level? So I said, well, this is the dipstick, and you pull it out, wipe it, put it back in, put it back out again, and it should be between the minimum and maximum level. So he said, okay, thank you. Do you want to get in the car and not start the engine? So got in the car. My mirrors and everything, my seat was all sorted beforehand, because I literally just drove it to the test centre. So I got straight in, and then he said, okay, so your next question is, tell me how you would know your ABS is working, or tell me how you'd know about your ABS. Just the ABS question, anti-braking system. So I said, okay, so I'd turn the ignition on, all the warning lights should come on, and then you're looking out for the ABS one, and then that one should go off, and that means you have nothing wrong with it. But if the light stays on, then that means you do have a problem with your ABS, and you can still drive the car, but you need to get it checked out. So he said, okay, thank you. So we're going to now start your test. He explained the test before, what he was going to do. He said there's going to be an independent drive, a manoeuvre. He said continue ahead to do so, or turn left or right if I say so. So I said okay, and then he said, okay, I want you to do a bay park. So I said, all right. He said, you can go in any space you want. But beforehand, my instructor said, I've got not to go in the one next to me, because it's only got one line. It's kind of on a diagonal. It's only got one marking line on the floor and not another line. So I can't really gauge it right. So it means I would have gone in the next one. So I did how I learnt it, drove out and went into reverse gear, started reversing, full up to the right. I thought, this is going alright, like I can do this. The reason I thought that was because in my lessons, my instructor said, I hope you get bay park because you did that brilliantly. Like, I hope you get it in your test because you'll be fine. So I was like, well, I can do this then, can't I? So I started reversing, doing my checks. And I thought, crap. I don't think I'm going to reverse this in the lines. So it kind of went a bit from there. I still done it, basically. So I started reversing and I saw I was really wonky. And how they do it is once you're fully in the space, then that's when you can't move anymore, if you get what I mean. Once your car is fully in the bay, then that means you can't go out anymore. But as I wasn't in fully and I knew I was wonky, I had to drive forward and sort it out, go back. I realised I still wasn't straight, so I had to drive out again and get myself straight, then go in the bay park, in the bay. Ugh. When I'm thinking about it, I'm getting so like annoyed at myself because I can bay park and I did it fine, and then in my test, just the nerves got the better of me because it was the first thing I did and I was kind of a bit put under pressure. But in the end, he got out, I checked my door and I was in the lines. So I was like, brilliant. So he said, out of the test centre, I want you to turn right and go straight up and follow the signs to the M25. Yeah, and I already knew what he was going on about. So the one thing you have to remember when you come out of Tilbury Test Centre is that you have to stop before you go over the pedestrian path, because obviously pedestrians, and that is not good if you run over a pedestrian. So you have to stop, you have to look, then go. But I was waiting for quite a long while because there was a pedestrian, so lucky I stopped, so I didn't fail. But I know people that have failed from doing that if you don't stop. And then once I had time to go from the car, so I pulled out and went, and I was on my way. And this was the independent drive, by the way, that we did first of all. So, and the way that I went, I knew what was ahead. So there was a mini roundabout and a massive roundabout. And I knew at that roundabout that I had to stay in the left lane. So I was well away. And I knew he wanted to go to the third exit, which went onto a dual carriageway. So I was like, okay, right. So roundabout, left lane, went round that fine. Then I got into a dual carriageway, so I was doing fine along there. And the whole time I was making conversation with my examiner, and he was called Mark. And I found out actually when I finished my test that his name was Mark Christmas. It really made me laugh. So his last name was Christmas. So I was talking about everything with him. I said, oh, do you enjoy your job? Because he told me he was an instructor before being an examiner. So I said, oh, like, what one do you prefer in that? And I said, not where do you live, but I kind of said, I don't know how I got that conversation. I think it's because my boyfriend plays for Southend, and then he said, oh, I live in Southend or something like that. So we were just talking about a lot of things because it made me feel a bit more relaxed when I was talking to him. So we was going along the dual carriageway, and obviously follow the signs to the M25. So as we was going along there, halfway into going along the dual carriageway, there was this kind of like construction lorry type thing in front of me, but say a tractor, but more on a builder's site. So not a tractor, but that sort of machine. So it wasn't a lorry like with a back, it was some sort of machine on the motorway, and it was going 20 miles per hour on a national speed limit road. Okay, so cars can go up to 70, 60, 70, and then this thing in front of me was doing 20. So I was doing about 45 miles per hour, and as I approached this, oh, I didn't hit it, don't worry guys, I would have failed, I wouldn't have passed, obviously. So as I was approaching it, I realised it was going very slow, so I slowed down into gear 2 in about 25 miles per hour, and I thought there was tons of cars coming past me in another lane, because I was in the far lane. Tons, lorries. I thought, right, I'm stuck behind this the whole way to the M25. So I was thinking, right, I need to indicate and I need to get over. But I've never done this before, so I was kind of doubting myself. I was thinking, do I have to stay behind this the whole way, or can I actually go out? Yes, you can, as long as it's safe, obviously. So I checked my mirrors, I kept checking my mirrors, I was indicating, checking my mirrors, and then I got out and I got around it, and luckily I got around it just in time to indicate off for my turn in for the M25. So once I got off the M25, I think he said, can you take the first exit on the roundabout to Grace? So I handled that well, took that exit and went back round. Yeah, but I only got 2 minors, and I know where I got those 2 minors. So they basically entwined with each other. The first one is for control and the second one's for observation. Okay, so I was at a junction. It's quite confusing. So it was a junction with obviously 2 roads, obviously. And a van was waiting to go right into my road. And on the other side of the road, a car wanted to turn in also to the left, but there was a car behind that wanted to go straight ahead. So as they were approaching and as I was coming, I thought I might have had enough time to pull out. For some reason, I went to go to pull out. So by the time that car went round and this one was here, we nearly obviously went into each other. He beeped, he slammed on his brakes, I slammed on my brakes. But even though I did that, the reason why it was a minor was because I reacted quick enough. Although my observation wasn't right and my it just wasn't right, I shouldn't have gone, but I didn't go. I didn't full on go and we didn't crash and nothing else happened like that. But the reason was because I went straight on the brake and the clutch, kind of like an emergency stop, quicker than the examiner. So the examiner told me afterwards, after my test, that he was nearly going to go on the brake. Now because I got there quicker, I didn't fail. So that was that. But what else was I gonna say? Also, you get the line obviously, and people, if you're learning to drive, you know that your right hand wind mirror has to be over the line for the junction. My wind mirror was still over that line, so I was still in a good position. I wasn't over the line, and my examiner also said that if I would have passed that line and been on the road, then I would have definitely failed. So I couldn't get more luckier. So where was we? So after that we drove back round. I went on country lanes, quite a lot of rural areas, quite tight roads. Oh, another thing that happened actually was going along a little house in the estate, and then ahead there was roadworks. Now this road was not like your average size road, like it was quite a bit smaller, still had 2 lanes, quite a bit smaller though. And there was this, do you know, like gas people? I think they were doing gas, not gas. The people that dig a hole in the road and then they have to have that long rope, long tube going into the floor, and they've got the van connected. Well, anyway, there was a van in the road, like nearly sideways, blocking from traffic getting through, basically. So we was waiting there for a good 5 minutes, so that was a bit my test gone. I don't even know how to fix it. But, so my car was stationary. I literally was in neutral with my handbrake up, waiting for these people to move. And the builders were like this, so they knew we was there, but it was just a case of we was waiting for this massive van to move out the way. So there was cars the other side as well. So when the van moved out the way, it was my right of way. And there was a car that came through, so I just let him go. Otherwise, that would have been a minor if I would have gone and then I would have had to reverse back. Well, I don't know if it would have been because it was my right of way. But anyway, I waited and then went through. And then after that, I realised where I was. Because after that little road, it came back out. And in front of me was the road that I go down for college on my bus. So I thought, okay, I know where I am. And I was driving and I looked at Mark and I went, where am I going? Because he says, oh, I want you to turn right or left. So I was waiting for an instruction. So I was getting closer and closer and I was saying, where am I going? And I looked ahead and it said one way. It said one way. So then I laughed because I was talking to Mark quite a lot of the journey and we was making a few jokes and he was like throwing out all loads of puns. So I was so relaxed. So I was able to laugh at it, if you get what I mean. Whereas some people, maybe in their tests, they don't really get check examiners. So they always, if they probably said, where do I go? And then he said, oh, it's one way. And then you're a bit like, shit. But I laughed about it. And he said, oh, it's kind of obvious. And I was like, well, anyway. So turned out of that. And then, what else? Oh, I've been quite a long way actually. So come out of that turn-in and we went round and kind of on another dual carriageway kind of type thing, but it literally only lasts a minute. Across a roundabout, up a hill, through another couple country lanes, back on another dual carriageway that I've been on quite a lot. So I was on this dual carriageway coming to a massive roundabout, and I knew we was on our way home now because where I drive, so I kind of knew we was on our way. I did the roundabout fine, even though that I had a few problems when I was learning actually with that roundabout. But I literally, it was clear, so I was like, oh, happy days. And then coming out of like a 50-mile-per-hour dual carriageway, it was straight on a 30 road, and then I literally got round one last corner and he said, okay, we're going to make our way back to the test centre. And I was like, yes. So and then over one little mini roundabout, indicate left, and I saw my instructor waiting for me when I come back, so I was like,
oh my god, do not mess up now, Kelly. Literally, your instructor's watching you, your examiner's watching you, you're nearly at the end. You have one little thing to do, which is indicate left and pull in.
Like, I thought, you can do this. So I did it. I got in, and you kind of don't really have to park. I was literally so wonky, he was like, oh, it don't matter, just put it anywhere. So brake, handbrake, neutral, turned it off. I went, okay, I've just got to do some working out. And I went, okay. He went, oh, Kelly, I'm pleased to say you've passed. And I literally went, because I was so hot, like, because I was nervous. I was really hot, like, everywhere. I'm wearing a jumper, but it's quite overcast today. But it don't matter. I was so nervous. I was sweating. My face was red because I was so nervous about the results. So I said, what? I've passed. And then he went, yes, and you got 2 minors. I went, you're joking. And he went, I'm going to tell you off in a minute. And I went, okay. And by that time, my instructor was next to the car listening to the last bit, because I said I want him there to listen to the results. And then we was laughing. I said, I was trying to think about what he wants to tell me off for. And I went, oh, was it this and this little thing, this little thing? And then he went, I'll tell you in a minute. So I waited whilst he filled out this sheet. And then he said, oh, it was the bit at the junction that I got the 2 minors on. And I was like, oh, I was expecting to have about 7 minors. I got 2. 2! But I'm really proud of myself. And I thought right from the start, even with reading the number plate, I thought I got wrong. Even the Bay Park, I thought I might as well have quit before I even begun. So, kind of the moral of that story is, if you think you've done something wrong when you're doing your test, say to yourself, that was only a minor. Or don't even say that to yourself. Speak to your examiner. That's my tip number 2. Make conversation. It makes you feel more relaxed. Ask them about their day. Do they enjoy their job? Like, what do you like to do in your spare time? I found out Mark Christmas used to play golf. There we go. Tip number 3. They're just an ordinary person. He's just doing his job as an ordinary man. He goes home to his family, just like I do. They're not an alien. I mean, they're only there to assess you. They're not there to judge you. So, as long as you keep control of the vehicle and keep safe, then you're going to pass, aren't you? Tip number 4, enjoy it. Just like my instructor said. It's a test that you can take over and over again. Luckily, unlike your GCSEs or your A-levels, you can't really redo them. Although it's expensive, just enjoy it. It's an experience that everyone goes through, and everyone has their own personal stories, and I want to share mine with you because I enjoyed watching these. I found them very, very helpful when I was nervous about taking my test. So sorry I'm rambled on for like 19 minutes 10 seconds, but quite a lot happened, and yeah, I just wanted to tell you about it. So I've got my pass and I need to start driving my car. You want to know, I do have a car. I drive a Suzuki Swift. It's a 2008 plate, and I think it's a 1.3 engine. It's black and it's got 5 doors. Yeah, I've driven it a couple of times. I just need to get a bit more confident. And now I've passed, I can take the epoxy L plates off. Okay, so thank you for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you soon. Bye! And good luck if you're taking your test soon, or your theory test. You can do it. Bye!